Hey everyone, Danny Greco here, and it's October, which means I have September's 2021 statistics available. So let's jump right into it. Today we're going to be talking about the single family home market. So again, that's basically anything that's not a condo, townhome, single family homes, that sort of thing. And really it wasn't the most eventful September. It was actually a pretty boring month. There wasn't a lot of change in our market month over month, but that definitely will change when we get to year over year statistics. So just looking at our three areas here, we're going to look at the city of Seattle, the east side areas, and then King County as a whole. So again, the one thing that's been very impressive is the absorption rate remains very, very high. And that remains exactly unchanged, which is interesting because that's to the thousandth power or the 100th decimal point, 3 decimals over, whatever that means. And that remains exactly unchanged from last month. So it's a very strong absorption rate, which still tells me that buyer demand is pretty high. So anyway, starting with Seattle, in September, the median home price was at $850,000. That is exactly where it ended last month too. So no change there. And inventory was pretty flat as well, up a little bit maybe. Not really much difference there. East side, everything was as flat as a pancake. Really not much a change, anything month over month there. The median single family price for a home in the east side was still above 1.3 at 131, so $1,310,000. They're still struggling with a lot of inventory, only 3/8 a month of inventory. I don't know how that breaks down into how many weeks, but you're looking at less than 2 weeks of inventory basically. And then King County, 825,600 was the median price home for King County. In September, that was down about 25,000 from the previous month. So and inventory levels again just up a little slightly there, but so again really month over month not a lot of change. But now as we shift into the year over year statistics, we see some pretty crazy numbers. So again, we're just still dealing with a lot of supply issues. So King County in general, again, down over 32% year over year in available homes for sale. That's almost 51% less homes on the east side. So Seattle's still down 43%. So it's pretty crazy that there's that less homes available in those higher price markets too. So that year over year appreciation saw King County come in at about 9.5% year over year. Seattle pretty low, about 3.6%, but this was the big one. East side at almost 26%. So again, you're looking at an area that has a median sales price of 1.3, and there's so much demand for that still. So much that values increase, 26% year over year. There's just so little out there and people still willing to pay for these amounts. I know anecdotally, those are just some of the toughest areas for my buyers. Homes go up and they still sell 2-3 days before the offer review date's getting a half dozen offers before the scheduled review date. It's still just as wild in September and October as it was in April and May. So this is typically the time of year where we see inventory, maybe that August, September, October timeline. Inventory is kind of at its peak for the year. It's at its apex before things kind of start to slide into the winter months, and then we kind of bottom out in January. We saw just the opposite this year. We actually opened the year with the most inventory we've seen all year. So instead of inventory levels rising all year like they typically do, we've seen them decrease at the beginning, and now they're just kind of flat. So no change over there. And I don't really expect any change in the market until we start to see more houses come on, because buyer demand is just still far outpacing the supply. So we'll see here what the last few months of the fourth quarter look like, but until then, you know where to find me.